Hello, this is Victor Davis Hanson for the Daily Signal. We're witnessing the confirmation hearings in the U.S. Senate of Donald Trump's nominations. Many of them will not gain a lot of attention. Some did. The two most interesting, or controversial, famous, infamous, I don't know the correct adjective, were Pam Bondi as Attorney General and Pete Hegseth as Defense Secretary. But before we get into them very quickly, remember what Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said to the Democratic minority. This will be an occasion that we make the argument against the MAGA Trump people, and we can do it by these basically two unqualified nominees. So Pete Hegseth went in. He was calm, he was relaxed, and apparently his rope-a-dope strategy was unknown or unexpected by Senator Elizabeth Warren, Senator Hirono from Hawaii, Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, Senator Adam Schiff. I could go on, but their tactic was to scream and yell at him and focus on his private life. So you had this Orwellian situation where senators who had been very friendly with Kamala Harris's husband, who impregnated his nanny, and Bill Clinton, who conducted oral intercourse, I'll be blunt, right off the White House, the Oval Office, right out of the White House's Oval Office. These same senators were then damning Pete Hegseth for an extramarital affair that he shouldn't have engaged in, but which he's apologized to, and he's asked for forgiveness. And of course, compared to the average Senate life, unfortunately, it's not unknown in Washington. But then when they started to ask him questions about defense, he answered every question spectacularly, and they got very, very angry. And it was all emblematic at one moment when Elizabeth Warren, who's clever by half, she kept hammering and yelling and interrupting. And excuse me, I'm not a sexist, but it sounded so shrill. And at one point she said, well, you wrote that generals should not be in the revolving door. And he has. And I think people are righteously skeptical of a general who comes from Raytheon like Lloyd Austin and no doubt will go back to Raytheon. And so she said, and now you're a hypocrite because you won't condemn it. And he said, I'm not a general, Senator. End of story. So he, in one word, kind of demolished her. Apparently, their perception was these people are unqualified. They're not sober, judicious, and skilled and intelligent like we are. But they have no idea who they were. Anybody who followed Pam Bondi and Pete Hegseth know they were experts in television. They look good on TV. They go on Fox News nightly, daily. Their whole forte is extemporaneous, repartee. Ask me any question. I'm on air in front of 4 million people. I can do it. That's what they do. So they came in here as the experts, and the rookies were the people interrogating them. And the more and more inept they seemed, the angrier and angrier, and they doubled down. And it was a disaster for them, and it made Pete Hegseth as an automatic confirmation. Very quickly, Pam Bondi came in. They thought that she had been Trump's lawyer. She was a lightweight. She was a MAGA person, and they started asking her questions. And then something very eerie happened. They started projecting what Merrick Garland and Biden had done onto her, who had done nothing yet. So are you going to weaponize the DOJ? Or are you going to think of the crime first and then find the victim? And cool as a cucumber, she said, well, that's what you do. So I'm not going to target Donald Trump and then make up crimes to embarrass him or nullify his candidacy, crimes which we would never have indicted anybody for had they either been not Donald Trump or have Donald Trump chose not to run again. Final thing. While this was going on, and the American people saw these people hit their head against the wall and ensure the confirmation of Bondi and Hegseth, and by association, probably Kash Patel and others to come, like RFK Jr., we had the Los Angeles fires. And it was, unfortunately, a catastrophic exposure of the whole bankruptcy of the radical left, from the timber not being harvested, from the hillsides not being gleaned, from the dams not being built, from the dams being blown up, to the fire chief's assistant, the mayor, the deputy. I could go on, but it was a case study of why you do not want those people in charge. And then finally we had the exit of Joe Biden, pardoning 1,500 people, pardoning people who were gruesome killers from the death penalty, pardoning his son when he had promised not to. So put all that together, and then the protectors and defenders of all that were going after two skilled nominations, people who'd spent their whole life either in the military, as in the case of Pete Hegseth, or in the courtroom like Pam Bondi, and were not just familiar, but perfectly at home under the lights. And it was a bad day for the Democrats, and it will help all of Trump's nominations to be confirmed quickly. Thank you very much.
Rope-a-dope. He used a rope-a-dope strategy during the negotiation, letting his opponent exhaust himself. Emblematic. The eagle is emblematic of freedom in many cultures. Clever by half. His clever by half strategy backfired, and everyone saw through it. Judicious. It was a judicious decision to invest in renewable energy. Forte. Public speaking is her forte. She delivers speeches with great confidence. Extemporaneous. The politician gave an extemporaneous speech that impressed the crowd. Repartee. Her repartee during the meeting kept everyone entertained. Inept. His inept handling of the situation only made things worse. Eerie. The old mansion had an eerie atmosphere, especially at night. Cool as a cucumber. Even during the intense interview, he was as cool as a cucumber. Nullify. The new evidence could nullify the previous ruling. Hit their head against the wall. Trying to convince him was like hitting my head against the wall. By association. She was judged by association because of the people she spent time with. Glean. He spent hours gleaning information from various reports.
If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date with future videos. Thank you for watching.